After graduating, I moved in with my mom for a few years. I never really liked the town she lives in, so I decided to move back in with my dad after he asked me to. I could help him with my little brother since he has 50-50 custody. Fast forward, at age 27, I moved out of my dad's house and in with my maternal grandparents who live in the same town. We had been clashing too much, which gave me major anxiety and some depression. A year has gone by, and unfortunately, my dad has now lost his job and needs to find a new place to live. The house he currently lives in is owned by the company he was working for. I had been trying to help him find a place to rent, but found out that he was expecting me to live with him. He wanted to put the lease and utilities in my name while he pays for everything. He didn't even ask me, he just basically said this is what we were going to do. I told him then that it wasn't a good idea to live together because of our issues last time, and he said it was fine. He thought I was just being lazy, but that's what made us have issues. I said I still didn't want to live with him, and I thought the issue was dropped. A couple of days later, he texted me asking if a property was available for us. I replied that I didn't feel like it was a good idea to live together since we clash often. I also wasn't comfortable putting my name on a rent house and utilities, since I wouldn't be living there. And I've never rented a house before. I'm also in the process of finding a place for myself. His response was that he didn't care if I lived there, and that I needed to do it anyway. I couldn't handle the situation effectively because I was at work, so I told him I would call him when I got off. Hours later, I'm in my car driving home and call my dad. When I asked if he wanted me to come over so we could talk about the situation in person instead of over the phone, he immediately got defensive. He said I was being ridiculous about the whole thing, that it wasn't a big deal, and all he needed was my name. He couldn't believe I was acting this way. I told him it was a big deal to me, especially since I wasn't going to be living there. I already have a car loan in my name for his car, and he doesn't have a job at the moment. Plus, he hadn't explained to me anything about the situation and why he needed me to do this for him. He started yelling at me, saying it was ridiculous that I wouldn't help him because it wasn't a big deal. When I asked how he expected me to help him when he's not talking and explaining everything to me, he started yelling even louder. He said he didn't need to explain because I had already said no. Then he proceeded to throw in some curse words while saying never mind and hung up on me. It has been a few days and he still hasn't spoken to me again. Am I the jerk? Comments. Comment 1. Not the idiot. This isn't simply your name, and it is a big deal. If your dad needed a car loan in your name, that is already telling you that he can't pass a credit check. Now that he needs your name to be the one on the lease, it's showing that he knows he can't get an apartment on his own. If he walks away from paying the car loan, it's just a matter of the car being repossessed. It is going to hurt your credit, and then your ability to make purchases that require it and/or find a place to live. Also, there are record systems that landlords use to report problem tenants. You don't want your father to put you on that list. It is possible that your dad is looking for you to co-sign, which is even worse because it means you are guaranteeing payments on his behalf. If your dad stops paying rent, you would become responsible, and they would go after you, not him, to collect the unpaid amounts. Comment 2. Not the idiot. I know you've said you're not concerned with him stealing your identity, but you should be. So many people never think their loved one wouldn't steal their identity. So many people would never do this until their parents or whatever relation, and feel like they're owed for X, raising a child, etc. Please freeze lock your credit. If you're right, your dad won't know. If you're wrong, hopefully not, you've saved your future. At the very least, sign up for Credit Karma. You'll get a monthly review of any changes to your credit so you can review it for accuracy. Only you and Credit Karma know you've done this. It doesn't affect your credit in any way. I got this after my parents had their identities stolen. I've kept it because it's fun to watch my score go up as I pay down my debts. By the way, it's free. Comment 3. Not the idiot. Don't sign for the house. Otherwise, you will be back on Reddit in 6 months telling us that your dad screwed you over and never bothered to pay the rent like he promised. The landlord has come after you for payment, your credit score is ruined, and you can't rent out another apartment in the future because of the bad reference you've got from your dad's landlord. Now, for the next story. Me and my 2 roommates had pizza for dinner last night. It was my treat. I was the first one to grab my slices, 2 of them, and grabbed the biggest slices since it looked like they sliced it a bit weird. Now, I, a 25-year-old female, can eat the 2 slices just fine. Along with the cheese bread we got with it, it's a nice-sized meal for me. My roommates B, a 26-year-old female, and H, a 28-year-old male, came to the kitchen shortly after to grab their pieces and to thank me for buying dinner. H saw the 2 slices I had before he opened the box and said, "Wow, did you get the extra-large pizza?" When he opened the box, he got a disappointed look and his shoulders drooped. When I asked what's wrong, he started saying in a depressed tone, "These pieces are all smaller. I'm the biggest person here, so I should have gotten the biggest pieces, honestly." I said, "No, I bought the pizza so I get to pick my slices first, and I wanted these ones." To which he replied that I was throwing the fact that I bought it in everyone's faces, and that was a shitty thing to do. He then said, "Since you got more pizza, I should get more cheese bread to make it even." I then replied that no, we each get an equal amount of pieces of bread. B was quiet through it all, like she didn't care, and just grabbed her food and sat in the living room. Was I being shitty? Now here are the comments. Comment 1. Not the idiot. This is why the phrase, "don't look a gift horse in the mouth," exists. We could change it to, "don't complain about your gifted pizza to the person who gifted it to you." I don't get the AH comments here. You offered to buy pizza. Cool. If roommates don't like it, they can eat something else. "I'm the biggest person here, so I should have gotten the biggest pieces, honestly," is just ridiculous. Comment 2. Not the idiot. "Sorry, I paid for the pizza. You are free to order your own pizza, you ungrateful A?" Also, he's being sexist. He is male, so he deserves the larger piece. Ha ha ha. Comment 3. Not the idiot. "He's bigger, so he should get the bigger slices. WTF? You didn't do anything wrong, and it sounds like everyone got some pizza. Nice of you to treat your roommates." Now for the next story. My 24-year-old female stepdaughter, 8-year-old female, recently had a birthday and was gifted an iPad by her grandmother. We only see her every other weekend according to the court order, and during her most recent visit, she insisted on bringing it with her. She also plays on my iPad when she visits and uses a tablet that my parents gave her, so we didn't think it was necessary for her to bring the new one. However, we allowed it because she was so excited. Unfortunately, we quickly regretted our decision. The iPad became a problem. Her mother and grandmother would continuously text and FaceTime her from the time she woke up until bedtime. At one point, my stepdaughter became restless and frustrated because too many people were texting her. If she took too long to respond, her mother and grandmother would repeatedly text, wondering what was wrong. She couldn't focus on tasks, activities, or even meals for more than 5 minutes because she was worried about upsetting her mom and grandmother by not responding. It's extremely upsetting, especially for my husband, that our entire weekend with her is wasted because her mom and grandmother won't leave her alone. We only see her every other weekend. Her mother knows that she can call to speak to my stepdaughter at any time, and we will never deny her that. But having her constantly texting all day is absolutely ridiculous. Her mom and grandma don't see a problem with it, but it's a big issue for us. We want her to be able to focus on spending time with us, playing games, enjoying her toys, watching movies, playing with her baby brother, and most importantly, eating, without worrying about texting her mom and grandmother back. I suggested to my husband that he not allow her to bring it with her in the future. It causes too many distractions, and we only have her for a short time. As stated previously, we have 2 tablets here that she is welcome to play with, so there's no need for her to bring her personal iPad. My husband is on board with this, but he's worried that it will cause issues with her mother. Would I be the jerk if I tell my stepdaughter that she is no longer allowed to bring her iPad to our house? Now here are the comments. Comment 1. Not the idiot, but I wouldn't tell her not to bring it. It's a new toy for her, so it's exciting. However, I would set a time limit for its usage and inform her mom and grandma about that time as well. Explain to them that it's becoming an issue, and maybe she can only have access to it during certain hours of the day. Or perhaps she can only use it for a certain number of hours per day. I would also reassure them and my stepdaughter that I am not trying to limit their contact with each other at all, as they can call anytime they want. But she should have other joys in life, and worrying about texting on her own iPad shouldn't be as important as she might think. Comment 2. You would be the jerk. This should be a conversation for her dad to have with her mom. He needs to ask them to not be so intrusive during his time with his daughter. Also, both of you need to teach her about boundaries and how to manage technology so it doesn't become all-encompassing and cause her a lot of anxiety as she gets older. If she wants you to temporarily ban it so she can take a break, that's okay. But eventually the problem will need to be addressed head-on. Comment 3. I started reading this thinking one way and you delightfully took it in a whole other direction. Definitely not the jerk. But this might be your husband's battle to fight. There is no reason why an 8-year-old should feel tied to a screen all day. Hopefully he can tactfully explain that you are limiting screen time, so they shouldn't be alarmed if they don't get an immediate response. Good luck. Now, for the next story. I met with Zoe yesterday afternoon, and we talked things over. I pointed out a lot of things that were brought up in the comments and presented them as the concerns of me and a couple of friends of mine, not the concerns of the millions who saw it online. Turns out she was part of those millions. Someone sent her one of TikToks that my Reddit post was read in, and she has been thinking about things. She told me she felt a little embarrassed about all this being out there online, even if nobody knew who we are, and I apologized. I explained that I really didn't have many people who weren't involved in the wedding to speak with about this, and I needed the advice. She also apologized and said that she realizes now that the bleaching was a completely out-of-line request. She said that since she's only bleached her hair once, and because she's naturally blonde to begin with, she didn't know anything about the process for bleaching dark hair and didn't know it would be so difficult, take so long, and could cause so much damage. She said looking back, knowing what she knows now, she feels like she was a huge witch. I reassured her that she wasn't a witch, she was just uneducated and passionate about something, and we clashed. We hugged it out, and things are good now. About the wigs, there will be none. She's scrapping the group blonde idea. I convinced her that she would stand out far better if her whole bridal party wasn't blonde, and that dark hair and red hair would work amazingly with her winter theme. The contacts are also being scrapped unless any of us decide we want to use them. They're a very piercing blue and kind of cool looking. About the grandparents, Zoe said Frank's family in Argentina isn't of German descent, so there's nothing to wonder or argue about. She was, however, horrified when she put all those pieces together and thought about how it looked. She had really been thinking Elsa vibes, not Aryan nation vibes, and that embarrassed her more than the story being out there by itself. She didn't even know Nazis fled to South America after one. Zoe has officially messaged everyone in the bridal party to let them know about the change of plans and to apologize for the outburst and the stress this put on everyone. She's also very excited for us all to come up with a new hair makeup look and go dress shopping. Also, for those who asked if the groomsmen were being held to the same standard, I don't know. And after finally getting this whole fiasco over with, I didn't care to ask. Zoe and I have made up and everything's fine now. Sorry if this update wasn't the crazy story everyone was looking forward to. Now here are the comments. Comment 1. No, this is the sort of update I like to hear. Okay, yes, I do like the even more crazy ones also. But it's nice to hear that people talked it out and acted reasonably. And everyone is back to being friends. And it sounds like it's going to be a beautiful wedding. Besides, Elsa's best friend's sister is Anna, right? Comment 2. Sorry if this update wasn't the crazy story everyone was looking forward to. Absolutely nothing to apologize for. Genuinely positive outcomes are always better for the universe and those in it than another thing to get riled up about. There's enough nonsense and rage out there. Comment 3. If she still wants the frozen Elsa thing, the bridal party could have their hair braided. If it's too short, then small accent braids. It's nice to see a bride listen to her friends and apologize. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.